This is a Big Blue Crew production.
Hey, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? These nuts. Got it. Got it.
What's going on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all platforms? Welcome to another episode of Giants Interactions with yours truly, Big Pat Sports Talk and Classified 3F with Joe. Thank you for tuning in with me on this episode, Joe. And I just want to talk about a certain subject I don't think that enough people are talking about right now. And this is going to be the basis of this episode. For Wink Martindale's system, is inside linebacker or edge, which is more important for Wink's system, considering our team? Let's just base it off our team. We're not basing it off with the Ravens. We're basing it off our team, what we have here with this team, and the pieces that we have now. Considering what we have now, do we need to put more emphasis on the inside linebacker or the edge position? A lot of people have been talking about edge rusher. A lot of people have been talking about linebackers. We just want to get our point of view on the subject. Joe, I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm gonna back you up.
All right.
So,
yeah.
I just want to hear your point of view on it.
Man, well, first of all, thank you. I love doing these with you. I love these videos. I love the discussions we have. And shout out to everybody who watches these videos. Man, like, subscribe, ring that bell, get notified when Big Pat goes live or does the next video. And so we do videos on my channel too. So please like, subscribe. I'm really close to 400. I'm like 35 away. I really would appreciate it. The need at linebacker, well, let's look at this way. If we look at a defensive end, Pat, Martindale likes to run a 3-4, so we got to have a 3-4 end. All right, so that's the first thing. Who's the best 3-4 end in this draft? Who's the one guy that can do that? But when you look at a linebacker in Wink's defensive systems, you need a coverage linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
You not only do you need a thumper, but you need a coverage. So who's the best coverage guy? I mean, as Giants fans, we're always talking about how the middle is wide open because our linebackers can't cover and the tight end is burning us down the seam. That's always been one of the Achilles heels to the Giants defense. We just don't have that linebacking core that we grew up with in the 80s. And even the 90s, we had some really good linebackers. Is that an overlooked position now? Is that something that, is that a necessity though for Wink Martindale? Are you hindering him if you don't get him that linebacker? Is that limiting his play calling? We don't want to limit anybody, but this is also the first year of a true rebuild for the New York Giants that has not happened in years. This type of rebuild has not happened since George Young.
Right.
79.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, when's the last time we saw it tore down like this from the floor up? I mean, we're building a basement right now. If you were to build a house right now, you're at the basement level. You just dug the hole in the ground. They poured the slab, and now the walls are going up for your basement. So, look, this is an important decision. This affects the team. And then if you look at the draft, is there a linebacker worthy of a top 10 pick? We got two of them. How are you going to feel if we did go linebacker? Draft night, because I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of Giants fans, even at 7, would be worried even if it was Lloyd or the kid from Georgia. The kid from Alabama, I believe, might be a second rounder, but there's a couple other guys behind those guys. Chad Mamua. There's another guy that's moving up the depth charts at linebacker. So You know, the Giants haven't interviewed only Devin Lloyd that I found, and that was at the combine. Have they had any linebackers in for their top 30 visit? Not that I know of. So, now is that a smokescreen? No, I don't think so because they're doing due diligence. They're bringing in guys that don't even count for a top 30 visit. Looking at another running back today, I saw. So Iowa was that the college, Iowa State? Yeah. So, you know, are they even thinking about a linebacker, Pat? I'll throw it back to you.
I think you have to think about linebacker with this system here. A lot of people are really not understanding it, and I've been trying to push it that this is not a traditional defensive system where we just line up in a base defense and they just tell people to go after them. This defense is predicated on getting fabricated pressure from safeties, linebackers, edges, defensive tackles. They have major gap control that they have to have. But the reason why I asked this question is based on the people that we have here. We can go through them real quick. As far as our edge rushers, we have Ojulari, we have Roche, we have Ellerson Smith, we have Zimenez. I think Jabal Sheard is still here, if he's still here. But let's just go with those four core guys that
Well, we also
Ellerson,
got what Robinson or
Jihad Ward, he can play both inside and out.
yeah, I want to say Cam Brown, but that he's the linebacker. Don't we have
Yeah,
another?
we got Cam Brown.
Who was the kid that they were going to turn into linebacker, but he didn't?
Oh, you're talking about Coughlin, Carter
Yeah,
Coughlin.
Carter Coughlin. He's on the team,
Yeah, we got Carter Coughlin. You can name a bunch of guys
right?
at the edge, but I count Carter Coughlin as a linebacker because they switched him to linebacker and he got hurt.
Well, new scheme. He
But
might go back to his old position.
let's say he goes back to his old position.
Right,
And he goes
right.
edge. Okay, then you got linebacker. You got Blake Martinez. Is he supremely athletic? Do you trust him in coverage? I don't know.
After the ACL, I don't either.
Tate Crowder. Do you trust him in coverage? I don't think so. I don't think Jalen Smith is on the team anymore. Who do we have after Blake Martinez and Tate Crowder?
Cam Brown.
He's not a middle linebacker. He's an edge rusher.
Edge rusher. Okay, I thought there was another one. I thought he had an interception here late this year against the Bears, or was that Tate Crowder?
No, I think that was Tate Crowder. That was
Okay.
Tate Crowder. In the inside linebacker position, that's really all we have is Blake Martinez and Tate Crowder. You just said move Carter Coughlin back to edge, his original position.
Right.
So we got like 7 edge rushers, but we only really have 2 middle linebackers.
Right now, yes.
2. Because Benardra McKinney's not back. Smith is not back. Tate Crowder and Martinez is coming off a ACL injury. He was never really a covering middle linebacker to begin with.
Right.
So if Wink Martindale wants to run the system that he usually runs, do we have the linebackers to do it? My answer is no.
I will agree with that. And when you look at depth on the roster right now, the depth is at edge. So that makes linebacker a little bit more of a need when we can only think of 2 right now.
Yeah, you can only think of 2.
It's just like the tight end position.
Yeah, so that's why I brought this question out. We can only name 2 inside linebackers. And if we run in the system, go ahead,
that are worthy of the situation, that have a chance to be a starter. Okay, we're not, I got a feeling we're missing somebody, but who do you have the most faith in playing linebacker right now is those 2 on this team right now. That's it.
So when you think about it, when you're running a system that's predicated on getting fabricated pressure with safeties and bringing a multitude of people on blitzes and a lot of the defensive scheme that you see with Wink Martindale, those linebackers are going off back into coverage. Do we have coverage linebackers on this team? Do you trust Tate Crowder and Blake Martinez to cover 15, 16, maybe 20 yards of the field? Because sometimes they're going to have to do it. Sometimes they're going to have to do it. They're going to have to be lined up at the line of scrimmage, fake blitz, and get all the way back into their zone and cover up that zone. I've seen Blake Martinez do it one time in the preseason. But is that something that he can do consistently? Is that his game?
And another thing about wing system, if one person makes a half step miss on his assignment, that affects everything in that defense.
Mm-hmm.
That creates a lane. That creates a hole, creates a gap. He's not in his responsibility. He was late. That's a problem.
So I can name the whole front seven. I can name plenty of people on the front seven. I mean, we
Right.
just signed the two guys from the Ravens. I want to say Jenkins is his name. It might not be his name, but Jenkins, the defensive tackle, the big run stuffer. We signed Jihad Ward, who could play edge or play the inside DN in the 3-4. We got Dexter Lawrence. We got Leo. We got Moa that's still on the team. Moa's still on the team.
Right.
You got Ellerson Smith. You got Ojulari. You got Roche. You got Zimenez, who's still on the team. A lot of you may not count him in there, but they may see something in Zimenez that we don't. Maybe he fits the system. I don't know. Or maybe it just got him there for a camp body, just in case somebody gets hurt or something. Who knows? But our front seven, I'll be honest with you, is not bad. It's not bad.
Man, I just looked up linebackers, Pat, New York Giants, Google. It shows 3, Jihad Ward, Martinez, and Ojulari.
And see, they got him
Ojulari's-
slated. Yeah,
Yeah, he's not a linebacker.
right. You got a middle linebacker is Blake Martinez and Tate Crowder. After that is a wash. I don't know who's behind him. I mean, and you said put Carter Coughlin back at edge.
Right.
Because you believe that's his best position. So we got 2 middle linebackers, folks. And I'll be honest with you, I don't trust either one of them being in Wink Martindale's system as far as being the coverage linebacker. Now, blitzing, I could send Martinez in that blitzing all the time, but we don't have that coverage linebacker to be behind him. Just in case we have to send him in on blitzes. And that's why I brought this question up. I mean, Joe's researching right now. He's trying to find him. He's trying to find him. He's having a hard time. Usually Joe's like right there. He's having a hard time finding him. I'm still waiting. Tell me who our middle linebackers are.
Cam Brown is a linebacker. TJ Brunson is a linebacker. Omari Cobb. I don't know who that is.
Who?
Omari Cobb. Yeah, who? Yeah,
Right.
Omari Cobb. Now, Carter Coughlin is still listed as a linebacker, and Tate Crowder. These are the guys on the New York Giants active roster right now at linebacker. Cam Brown, TJ Brunson, Omari Cobb, Carter Coughlin, Tate Crowder. Martinez isn't even listed on the active.
Because of the injury.
Yep.
But do you trust Cam Brown going into coverage?
For some reason, it says Trent Harris is still on the team.
That's who's still on the team. Not Shear, but Trent Harris. Harris is still on the team.
Right.
And he's an edge rusher. He's not a middle linebacker.
They have Nico Lalos, but I thought he got cut.
I thought he got cut too. And Nico Lalos is not an inside linebacker. He's an edge rusher.
There's Blake Martinez, linebacker. They do have Ojulari listed as a linebacker here.
Yeah, but he's an outside linebacker.
Right. Quincy Roche is an out linebacker. Ellerson Smith. Jihad Ward.
Outside linebacker.
And O'Shane Zimenez. Yeah, so they got him linebacker, but there's the difference. But inside linebacker, coverage linebacker, because Wink does run a base 3-4, so that would make sense with Roche and everybody. Ojulari being outside listed as linebacker.
Yeah, all those guys that you name are going to be outside linebackers except for Blake Martinez.
Right.
And Tate Crowder, and I don't know who the other guy you said, Armani, who? I don't know.
I
don't know.
That's how pathetic. That's how pathetic it is. What the hell are you
And
going to
I'm
have
not
for an inside coverage scheme with those guys? I'm sorry, but
right. Who do you trust? And just because I'm saying right now, here, right now, the inside linebacker for this team, the way it's built now, is more important for Wink's system as far as, say, if we had to choose between the inside linebacker and the edge. Now, we do have 2 first-round picks. I'm not saying we have to use one of those first-round picks on the inside linebacker, but I do think that we need to go very high with an inside linebacker, second round, third round at the very least.
Yes.
And we're in a position where we could get a top edge rusher and a linebacker. Not saying that we can't, but the question is about the team as it is right now. Take the draft out of it. Which position is more important for us? Is it the inside linebacker or is it the edge rusher?
With the guys we just named off.
Yeah, with the guys that we just named off.
That's the team. Sorry, Pat. That's the team.
Yeah. So when you go into the season knowing that I've studied Wink's system, I'm not gonna say I'm sitting here and say I'm an expert. I know how it runs, but when I've seen him on film, he gets a lot of fabricated pressure. It's not just line up your edge rusher and go get it. Right. 60 to 70% of the time, it's a fabricated blitz how they get their pressure. 60 to 70% of the time it's a blitz that fabricated pressure from the safety position, cornerback position, or switching it up with the inside linebackers. 80% of the time that I've seen it, at least one of those inside linebackers is going into deep coverage. Look up Patrick Queen, middle linebacker for the Ravens. His whole career there, he's been going back into coverage, and he blitzes some too, but a lot of times they have him in coverage. Right. Sean Elliott, they have him all over the field. Name the dominant pass rushers the Ravens have had. The only one that you could really think of is Matthew Judon when Wink has been there. I'm talking about when Wink that's when Wink was there. I'm not talking about back in the day when they had Ray Lewis, Jamie Sharper, and they had Ball So Hard out there. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about Wink's guys. The best pass rusher that he had was Matthew Judon. And can anybody say that he's top 10 in the league and as far as a pass rusher?
Yeah, because this is no longer 4 guys across the defensive line and they're the only ones coming. You're going to have 7, 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. Guys are going to have to hustle back, and sometimes it's going to be a 4-man rush. Sometimes it's going to be a 5-man rush. Sometimes it might be 3 up the middle and 1 off the edge. Sometimes it might be 4 off the middle and 1 off the edge. It all depends on what the play was called before as far as what play Wink's going to run next. Because this man's been in the league long enough to know what offense is going to run what play against 3rd and 8. He breaks down film. That's why he's so good at his job. Why Wink Martindale is one of the #1 defensive coordinators out there, and why his name has been mentioned as a head coach for the last 5 years. He's that good. He does his study. He does his research. He's prepared. He can make in-game decisions. Does he lose games? Yeah, he does lose games. But you know what? When a man goes out there 3 years in a row, when his players are healthy, and he's got the right personnel on that team, he's a #1 defense. #1.
Yeah, #1.
You don't become #1 by just being lackadaisical and not worrying about who's on your team and I'm just going to make him work. You get the guy in there that you want. You get the guys in there that fit your scheme. You do your research on that team's offense. What do they like to do? What do they consist of? What's the easiest? What flusters the quarterback? What plays fluster the quarterback? What does he not like? That's what's going to get thrown at him. Just like everyone says, DJ, the defenses are blitzing because he doesn't like it. Wink Martindale's going to do the same thing with the other guys. He's going to confuse the living hell out of them. Well, this guy should be open. Wait a minute. How did this guy off the edge that's on the left side of the offensive line get over there to the right side? Now he's in my throwing lane. What the hell? I can't throw the ball. Oh, sacked.
Yep.
That's how it's going to work. Where the hell did he come from? I'm seeing ghosts.
So
Sam Darnold? I'm seeing ghosts. All right, that's what Wink
Right.
Martindale wants to do to the quarterback. He wants that quarterback to see ghosts. And without the right personnel, the right people, one guy's a half a step out, screws the whole thing. Touchdown. Because he's not in his position. He does not have lane responsibility. And I'm not saying that these guys are dumb, but he can't adapt to, he doesn't know my defense. That's a problem too. He could be the best player in the world, but if he doesn't know your defense or doesn't understand it, well, you got to coach that into him. Sometimes you just can't. Remember how we talk about how other guys ball out when they get on a different team and a different scheme? Sometimes that scheme is just not in that guy. You got to take that into consideration once in a while too.
Right, and I think that's what Wink Martindale looks at. What if we're running against a team that does a lot of play action flood concept? I think the Chargers are very good at that. They run a very good flood concept. They always have a receiver on the dig. They always have a receiver on the post.
Yep.
Or like a post corner, and then they always have that one receiver that's doing the deep post down the middle because Herbert can throw it a mile.
Right.
And if you come off that play action and he has time, he has his choice between receivers. So what if we're running a blitz concept and we need our linebackers to run a deep hook zone, which is a zone in the middle of the field, and he takes the seam player all the way down the field. He has to be fast enough and smart enough to be underneath that seam route, not to allow him not to allow that tight end or receiver get enough space to where he could just float it over there and dump it in between.
Just to give you an idea, Giants fans, that's what Chase Blackburn did on Gronkowski in the Super Bowl when he intercepted him.
Yeah.
Same play. That's what we need in a linebacker. That's what Chase Blackburn was doing when he made that interception on Gronk.
He had to run all the way back down there, down the field with Gronk. And to be honest with you, he was beat. It's just that Brady didn't have enough time to get enough arm into it. And that's the point that I'm getting to.
Right.
That's what Wink's system does. Your linebackers only going to have to cover about 15 to 20 yards because the way I got this defense, if everybody does their gap control correctly, we're going to get to Herbert before he has enough time to analyze this whole field and pick us apart. But your middle linebackers are going to have to do a lot of hook zones, and they're going to have to do a lot of curl flat zones. And what a curl flat zone is when the middle linebacker goes about 10 to 15 yards diagonally to stop a huge out route.
Yep.
Or like a short post route. Like a short post route, that's usually what a tight end would usually run. And a short post route, he usually posts after he gets towards the first down marker. And he posted it goes towards the sideline to get a quick 15, 20-yard gain.
And we're also talking about a system, if I'm not mistaken, Pat, where these guys are more in a zone coverage. They're not really a man-to-man. They're actually, when the ball is snapped, they got to be standing in a certain spot in the field, not on the guy. Because Wink Martindale is going to put you in throwing lanes.
Yeah.
All right. And that's what this defense is designed to do, is get guys inside in the middle of the throwing lane so that you get a chance at a turnover. Tip the ball up in the air because you got the receiver behind you, but you got a defender behind him. Tip the ball up so that the guy back there can make the catch. A lot of this is going to be tip drills, and a lot of that just getting in the quarterback's face and getting in his lanes.
And so your safeties are going to be doing a lot of robbers in Wink system. Robbers when the safety comes down right there towards the middle of the field and zones up there. And your DBs are going to be running a lot of flat 3 deep zones.
Yes.
When we run a lot of 3 deep zones, and the safety is going to have to patrol the whole middle of the freaking field.
Right.
And you saw that when I broke down Deshaun Elliott's film. That's why I wanted him here, because he already knows what to do.
Yep.
And he's fast enough and he's quick enough to do it. Now, Xavier McKinney could do it, but I have to see what Julian Love could do. But a lot of the times in these pass plays, your linebackers are going to be in a hook zone, a curl zone, or flat zone. And the flat is when the linebacker just shoots out to the flat to stop any out route or a little quick zigzag route to the outside if it's like a 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 3 to stop them from getting to the outside. We have the athleticism at the inside linebacker position to do that? My answer right now is no, especially with Blake Martinez coming off an ACL injury and Tate Crowder Does he have the discipline, or does he have the knowledge to do that? Not putting the man down, not saying he's trash or anything like that. He's Mr. Irrelevant for a reason. And if he was having a hard time with what's our last defensive coordinator? I'm sorry.
Graham.
If he was having a hard time with Graham's system, which was basic, let's just be honest, it was basic. What do you think that he's going to do in a system like with Wink Martindale? If he's running the system that he was running with the Ravens, maybe Wink Martindale's going to run a dumber, not a dumber. I'm sorry not to say that, but a not more complex system that he was running with the Ravens. And we may line up in a 3-4 base a lot more than they usually do. I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah, make it simpler. I doubt it because I don't see Wink changing his ways for no damn body. That's just the type of dude that I get from him. I'm bringing my system. Get me the people to run my system, and I'll show you that we'll be a top defense in this league. That's the type of guy. That's the type of vibe I get from him. Go ahead, Joe.
Now we're missing something though, Pat, because whoever we get back there has got to be a sure tackler. Because if they break a tackle, that's a touchdown in a lot of these plays with Wink's system.
Right.
So not only do you have to be disciplined at your spot, not only do you have to study this defensive scheme really hard, you damn well better make a tackle. Because that's what's involved into this also. So none of this big hit shoulder BS and the guy bounces off and runs it. No, you hit, you wrap, and you take him down. Pause. But that's what you do. You have to do that in this system. That's another thing that you guys saw out of the Ravens was always sure tackling. Yeah, they'd make a completion. They had to make a hell of a play to make a completion, and then it'd be, oh my God, this guy's the greatest thing, but then that defense goes back. Okay, they got one, but they ain't getting another. And you saw that in that Ravens defense. Those guys had swag.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys knew they were that friggin' good. Okay, guys, let's go out and do it again. Throw the helmet on, go out there, ball out. 3 and out. 3 and out. You can't run the ball. 3rd and 8. Just like what Miami did to the Ravens last year. Oh, 3rd and 8. Hey, Mahomes, everyone's coming. Or Mahomes. Lamar, everybody's coming. Get ready. Boop, sack. Lamar couldn't do a damn thing that whole game.
Not a damn thing.
That's the defensive scheme. He had him figured out. Knew he couldn't do it. That's what Wink Martindale's going to bring. Wink Martindale's going to find that deficiency, and he's going to exploit it 100%. And it's going to be complicated. It has to be. These guys are freaking smart. These quarterbacks are very smart.
Yep. And if you show them one thing more than once or twice or 3 or 4 times, you're eventually going to get carved up.
Right.
They're going to set that offensive line and be like, okay, you already know where he's coming at. They're going to get it blocked up. And in Wink system, if everything at the front line is blocked up consistently, touchdowns.
Right.
That's why you see a Ravens team give up 35 points in one game, because that quarterback figured it out. And last year, that's what happened. He didn't have the players on the field that he needed because everybody was hurt. He lost 3 cornerbacks. He lost a safety. He lost defensive lineman, and he didn't have the same people. And that was probably Wink's worst year, and he was still top 20.
Right.
So the system works. It's just that, do we have the people to run the system? Do we have the linebackers to run the system? Because I'll be honest with you. If we did not get a Thibodeau or somebody in this draft, I won't be mad, because I believe we have the edge rushers here that he can work with. I believe Ellison Smith can work very well in this system. I believe Ojulari would do damn well in this system.
Yes. Roche.
And I believe Roche would do damn well in this system as well, because he'd be able to use them in different areas. And then you put a Jahad Ward, a Leo Williams.
Yeah, I was going to say Leo, but I'd really love to see something out of Dexter this year. I'm not going to.
I would like to see it too. I'm not going to be super critical of Dexter, but let's be real. If we going to say that everybody else hasn't lived up to their draft position, you got to put him there too.
You do.
You got to. If you're going to be fair about it. If I'm saying that all the other first round picks haven't lived up to their position, I got to say Dex too, no matter how much I like the guy.
Right.
He has not lived up to his draft position. And I know a lot of people, oh, Pat, you always talking out the side of your mouth about Dex and all this. Listen,
what has
bro.
he done? What's he done?
What has
last
he
year,
done in the league that's made him so solid in people's minds? What has he done? Y'all tell me in the chat. Maybe me and Joel are wrong. I can accept if I'm wrong.
me too.
But me honestly calling the games the past 2 years and me just looking at film on the Giants, he hasn't lived up to expectations. He was supposed to fill that void that Dalvin Tomlinson left, and he
Right.
couldn't do it. And so they moved him to the edge. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's why a lot of people weren't too mad when Dalvin Tomlinson left with a normal fan, but the fan that I am, I was pretty mad because I knew what
Right.
Tomlinson brought.
Yeah.
And we was like, man, we got Dex. We could just put Dex at nose tackle. Okay, and they did that, and it did not work. It did not work. Last year, people were gashing us up the middle for 4 to 5 yards every first down play.
Shit, 8.
Right.
Sorry
And then
for
if you play
swearing,
a
but
bend,
8
and if you
yards.
play a bend but don't break defense, that's killing you.
Right.
But not to get too sidetracked, I think the inside linebacker position is dire need for this team. When you really think about it, just sit back and just really think about it. Let's not just get excited about the edge rushers that are out there. Oh, we need edge. We need edge. We need edge. Yes, we do. We may need a dominant edge rusher on this team. Not going to say we don't. But I think if we didn't get a dominant edge rusher, we'll be able to survive.
Right.
If we didn't get an inside linebacker, I
don't
don't
know.
think this defense survives.
I was just going to agree with you on that. Yes, I agree 100%.
If we don't get an inside linebacker that we can trust to make sure tackles, yes, Martinez is a very sure. Yes, he is. But can we trust him to run those hook zones, those curl zones, and those flat zones to perfection like we need our inside linebacker to do with this wing system? My answer is no. And Tate Crowder, man, I mean, he's not absolute trash, but he's not the greatest either. And that
then,
was in a simpler system.
People can say, well, just blitz Martinez. But if you blitz Martinez, the quarterback's going to catch on. He's the one that's always coming. So wherever he's at, we got to block him. He's got to be able to, he's got to be multi-role. He's got to be able to step back in coverage because it's got to be confusing. It can't be the same thing all the time. So what are you going to do? Just, okay, Martinez is in. He's coming. Okay, so I got him locked up. Get my protection scheme called. Okay. What?
Because if you know what linebacker's coming every time, if Blake Martinez is the only one that can blitz, it doesn't matter where you line him up on the line of scrimmage. They know that he's coming.
Right.
And they look at film. So if he's lined up on this side, usually this blitz is coming. If he's lined up on that side, usually this type of blitz is coming from this guy.
Yes, it's a tell.
And when you playing against somebody like a Tom Brady, you will get 8 alive because he knows what's coming. He studied every scenario. He's not only studied a scenario when he comes from that way. He studied other things to be like, okay, if he does fake it, right tackle, this guy's coming. If he does blitz from here and they fake this guy's not gonna come from the middle, this guy's coming. So be prepared. Look. And if those guys pay attention to Tom Brady, they're gonna see that he doesn't come. They automatically know to go over here because he's already blocked. He's already got it to where to set that Martinez is blocked. So I'm not worried about Martinez. The only thing I'm worried about is if you try to switch it up on this side or that side, and I got them prepared for either way. So you'll never be able to beat a team that's led by a quarterback that thinks like that, like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning, even Mahomes now. I'll put Justin Herbert and Burrow up there. They're smart enough to do it. Deshaun Watson, he'll do it to you. And shit, if any quarterback can have a sunshiny day. Shit, a Tyler Heineke could probably do it to you if you do it too much. So but Joe, if you have anything to say about that before we get into this little bit of film, just to give you an idea of what Wink System is about, do you have anything else to say about that?
No, actually, but I did get a little bit of update here I'd like to share with everybody from the voluntary workout the Giants are doing on this day today while we're taping this. And it was just reported that Danny just threw the biggest dime ever to Tony in the facility to KT's backyard.
What?
And that guy broke the ceiling doing that. Now that's a report by our good buddy Taj. I just wanted to
Okay.
shout him out.
So
He's
he
he's
said-
in the chat being a little bit goofy.
Right.
So I just wanted to have a little fun with Taj. He's gonna watch this and he's just gonna crack up. Taj is that guy. Much respect, my guy. Make sure you go sub him up too. He's got some really interesting video concepts.
Right. So let's watch this film. This is gonna be Carl Banks. He's gonna talk about Wink Martindale's system a little bit. Hopefully we all can get a little bit more on what Wink system is gonna look like. Let me know when you're ready, Joe.
Man, I was born ready. I love doing this stuff.
All right.
Welcome to another edition of Inside the Film Room, presented by Sharp. Bob Papa with two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. And Carl, we're going to look at new defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale. And he's a guy that likes to put pressure on the quarterback in a lot of different ways.
He does, Bob, but I must put this disclaimer out there. This is a very adaptive coaching staff and system, meaning what you see here in theory could work, but it's all dependent upon the personnel. And because we don't
see what he said.
What have I been screaming about when I said we might need to take a corner or a safety in the draft? Do we have the personnel to fit this scheme? Got killed. Sorry, Pat.
This is a two-time Super Bowl winning champion. Play right here with us, and he just said it. Dude is based on the personnel. So let's continue.
Don't know what that's going to be right now. I'm going to give you a look at some of the things that you could expect to see based on personnel. Right now, you're seeing a grouping of guys milling around the line of scrimmage, 8 guys. You got a single high, but you're really all guys are within striking distance of the line of scrimmage. So this is to create confusion for a offense. Now, I'll let this run. They only rush 5, but it's about the confusion. Who looks most likely to rush? This guy, this guy, this guy. Well, we know this guy's walking out, but this guy looks like the least likely guy to rush because they give you everybody at the line of scrimmage in a blitz-ready stance. So we run this through, I'll freeze it. Now the guy that had his hand in the dirt is now dropping into pass coverage. The guy
that's probably going to have to be Ojulari.
Right. I think he can do it.
Yeah, I think Ojulari can do it.
Who's least likely to blitz is now coming because he comes late. All of these guys are occupied. This guy's occupied. He's a free runner. So those are the types of things that just to pressure to cause the confusion on the quarterback. There was nothing there. When you're under duress, and you can see it here, quarterback is ready. He pulls the ball down. Now he can't find anybody because he's under duress. He had one guy in mind. When the late blitzer comes, now he has to refocus under duress. So based on personnel, it could be that safety that just ran from a linebacker position.
So as you seen that was Baker Mayfield. That's not a quarterback I have faith in that could carve you up if that's happening to him.
Right.
Like you with Wink system, you really have to be on your game because there's going to be a lot of different things coming at you. And what you just saw right there, chat, do you believe we have the personnel to do that? Do you think Julian Love can do what Deshaun Elliott just did right there? Do you think Ojulari can do what the linebacker did right there? He backed out into coverage. Is Dexter Lawrence able to take on 2 defenders and open it up? We know Leo can, but could Dexter Lawrence do that too to allow a Jihad Ward or a Ellerson Smith to get in there? Or Julian loved to get in there to cause the quarterback to pull the ball down and not see an open receiver on the drag because Odell Beckham was open. But the pressure got in there so quick. And Baker Mayfield, he has that tick about him that he just pulls the ball down and just starts running when he sees pressure coming to it. A lot of quarterbacks do that, believe it or not. They pull that ball down, they see that coming, they're like, oh, Lord, gotta get out of here. Instead of just standing right there, maybe take a big hit and deliver it to that drag, and maybe Odell Beckham can make a play and get a first down. Or if you got a DB that's a sure tackle that's right in his hip pocket, he tackles him, it's only a 3-yard gain.
Right.
Do we have the personnel to do that, Joe? I'll let you answer real fast.
Dude, that was my biggest question the minute we hired Wink, and everyone came at me. I said, do we? And everyone's like, I think we do. And dude, do you understand Wink's defense? What this guy asks of his players? Sure tackling, believe in me. Look. We all remember when Spags was the defensive coordinator here, and we gave up 40 points the first 2 weeks in defense. And Spags was like, look, man, you guys got to trust me. I'm putting you in positions. And then there was the trust factor, and then he coached him up. And we did have the right personnel for Spags. Okay? That time we did. This time, I don't know. I don't see, look, we're all depressed Giants fans right now. We know this whole team stinks. Patrick Graham, people were calling for his head first half of the season. Get him out of here. Fire him. I'm tired of this. Giving up too many points. Gave up the most points in the second quarter going into halftime than any other team. But yeah, and then it's like, oh, I want to keep him back. He's a good coordinator. That for me, that was fandom. A lot of people just it liked the guy. Okay. And that's the problem with the team right now. A lot of people like the guy. I like players on this team. I'm not going to lie, but I'm also saying that, it might be time next year to get rid of some of these guys, but you got to keep some of them around to see what you have.
Exactly.
You don't know what you have right now. There is no identity to this team. What kind of team is this right now? Is this a running team? Is this a passing team? What's our strength? What's our weakness? You can't say defense, really. Defense gave up the most points in the second quarter going into halftime. Okay. Look at the Washington game. The defense lost us that one because Washington was able to move the ball. Look at all, you can't say that, the Kansas City game, the defense cost us that one too because of the offsides penalty. There's a lot of things, that look at. So as far as this team goes right now, there is nothing here. Nothing. And now you got to figure out with your coordinators, you got to match the guys to the coaches. It's just as important for Shane and company to get the right draft picks. But these draft picks have got to match Wink Martindale's system, Brian Daboll, what he wants to do. The athleticism and the smarts, they both have to go hand in hand when you're looking at draft prospects right now. Because you're going to put guys in situation, and when you put a guy in that situation, they make a big-time play. Then they're like, okay, give it to me again. I'll do it again. That's what makes a star player. Now, Eli had quite a few stars. Let's give Daniel Jones some stars too and see what the hell he can do. Let's give this defense some stars and see what Wink Martindale can do. I mean, who's the true defensive captain? Okay. We don't have Michael Strahan. We don't have Jesse Armstead. We don't have Lawrence Taylor. We don't have, Harry Carson. We don't have any of those great leaders that were on this team. Hell, JPP was a leader. Tuck was a leader. Osi was a leader. Those guys spoke. Everyone freaking listened. We don't have that. We don't have that. Those teams refuse to lose. Exactly how they played. Nope, I'm done losing. Done losing. Hated losing. Not doing it no more. Whooped the snot out of Rodgers all the time, every time we went up there. Beat an 18-0 team. We're not losing. That's the identity of the New York Giants when it comes to playoff football. We're not losing. Even 2000, we did lose the Super Bowl, but we did not lose the playoffs.
Right.
1990, the Bills were huge favorites. We're not losing. And that was LT and Marshall and all those guys. We're not losing. Got to have that attitude. We don't have that attitude. We don't have that mindset.
Shit, we had a mindset we finna lose.
Right, right. Right now, we're the teams that everybody's circling. Yeah, that's a win.
Right.
That's what we are right now. But as far as linebacker, you guys cannot. I don't see how you can argue how that's not like a really important talking point right now for this New York Giants team, because we have 2 inside linebackers. Don't have that leadership. That counts.
It does.
When things are going bad, that leader, you're telling me Ray Lewis was down by 3. What did he do? He barked at people. Somebody made a play. Turnover, interception, tackle, strip sack, a sack, made a play.
Because you did not want to hear Ray Lewis in that locker room.
You're damn Skippy.
And I think he was just such a good leader. You didn't want to disappoint the guy. You didn't want to be that guy that he can turn to be like, man, because of you not doing what you're supposed to do, we lost this game. You didn't want to be that guy in the locker room with Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
And you damn sure didn't want to be that guy in the locker room with an LT.
You know,
because that's not going to go the way you would think it was going to go.
Listen, is the Cleveland Browns a really good defense? Cleveland Browns got an okay defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the leader?
Do
they have a true leader?
I mean, is Myles Garrett that leader? I don't believe so.
I don't see him on the field doing that type of antics, or I don't see him giving those kind of, information on the field. I just see him go over and he lines up at one side or he lines up on the other side and does his play. Who's the leader? You don't see that. If there was a leader over there, you'd see a good Cleveland Browns defense go to a great one.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys are going to be like, man, that's my leader. He's out here doing and saying and talking and backing it up. I'm going to follow. That's how greatness is achieved.
The Kansas City Chiefs come to mind. Their defense is not great, but you know what? That leader in the Honey Badger that was out there, unfortunately, he's not with the Chiefs anymore. But the Honey Badger,
it's going to show.
He brought the troops to come to Rouge. Like, come on. We got the top offense in the league. We don't have to do the most, but damn it, we damn sure not going to give up the game.
Right.
Get it together.
That leadership carries weight on that field as to how guys play.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Leadership counts for a lot. Leadership can come and boost up a team that's not supposed to be doing what they're doing.
Have you guys seen the practice pictures today? Everybody's smiling. Dabble's out there having fun. Shane's out there having fun with them on the practice field. That's leadership, man. These guys are buying in big time. I could go out here and crack up a little bit. Hey, I like this freaking guy. I'll play hard for him. But you got to have somebody on the offense and the defense who's a leader. Who's going to be the guy who steps up and says, this ends now. You guys won't do it. I will. Goes out and makes a play.
Right. We don't have those guys.
That's like why Lawrence Taylor got so much respect. He played a game with a separated shoulder and whooped the shit out of him.
But
the man had to wear a jacket to keep his shoulder in place. It was Detroit, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. You got that interception. He was the main reason why we won that game.
Right. You guys won't do it.
Return, got the fumble.
I will. Next game, guess what? And everyone balled out. Oh shit! LT went off. It's my turn. I can't.
Can you imagine what he said in that locker room after that game?
Right. I'll bet you he said something a lot worse than let's go out there like a bunch of crazy dogs.
I bet you said something a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out here and do this with a bleep, 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 bleep,
right.
separate the shoulder, bleep, bleep.
You know, who was the leader of that 85 Bears defense? I'm going to say it was, oh, Christ, I just lost his name. Singletary. Yeah, that was the leader.
You know how
Offense,
crazy
Walter Payton.
Singletary was. Yep. You know how crazy Singletary was.
That great
Singletary didn't give a damn.
That great 85 team, the two leaders, you can look right at them and go Singletary and Walter Payton.
And sweet.
You knew goddamn well who was the leaders.
Because Jim McMahon weren't worth a damn. I don't
Right.
care what nobody say. It was sweetness, toughness on offense, and Mike Singletary and that defense went out there and balled.
Man, the Bills, the 4 years they went to the Super Bowl, they had defensive Darryl Talley.
Yep.
When Darryl Talley spoke, people listened.
Sure did.
You know, I would say Jim Kelly was more of a leader than Thurman Thomas, but
Yeah, Jim Kelly was a leader.
you know,
Jim Kelly was the leader of that offensive side of the ball. But Darryl Talley for the defense. Mm-hmm.
Because Patrick Mahomes is the leader of that football team, right? For Kansas City. He guys, we're down 21, but it's no big deal. Let's get this back. What do? They go out there and get it back.
Yep.
That's a leader. That's important. That's what the Giants need. And if that leader comes from middle linebacker, give it to me. If it's an edge, give it to me. But we got to have that leadership.
And you got to build a culture within the team so somebody will want to step up and be the leader. Right now, the culture of this team is absolutely trash. So who the hell is going to want to be the leader of a team that you know does not fit to win?
Right.
You can try. I mean, Peppers tried. You can try, but if you don't have a winning culture, it's extremely hard.
Yep.
Because everybody's head is down to the dumps. No matter what you say, everybody's not believing that we can win. But if you get a roster of players that believe they can win and want to play, hell, you might get them to do something great. And we're not even that great. Antonio Pierce, was he one of the greatest middle linebackers in history? No, not even close. But he was a damn good leader.
Yep.
And he went out there and he showed it by example. He put his body out there on the line, because if it wasn't for him stopping that screen pass against the Packers,
oh man,
we might not even win.
Right. That was wide open. Oh boy, that was
a touchdown. If Pierce doesn't go over there and do what he did, that was a touchdown. That might have been the end of the game.
And you can say what you want, but Nick Gates was a damn leader on this offense for a while.
Yes,
they
he
made him a captain. And then when he went down, how did that offensive line do? It sucked.
Absolute shit.
That's leadership. Because I'll tell you what, the drive before you got hurt in the Washington game, man, that line looked like something. That line looked like something.
And then when he went down, and you know, the rest is history.
Who's the leader?
Right. And then you don't have good coaching to back that up. Of course.
What's the play? What's the play? You got guys screaming on the field. What's the play?
But we're going close to an hour.
Yes.
I got one little surprise. First day of minicamp is over, so I guess you want to hear exactly what went down the first day of minicamp at the New York Giants practice. So we're gonna listen to that, and let's see what happened. We'll talk about that for a second, then we'll get out of here.
Hey, Giants fans, I'm Madeline Burke here with Paul Dottino with your end of day report. Paul, Giants out here for the first day of voluntary minicamp. So pretty good attendance. A lot of guys out there getting some work in. What stood out to you?
Well, first of all, 3 days for this voluntary mini camp, no contact, only in shirts and shorts with helmets. But after the warm-ups and some of the positional drills, I thought the 7-on-7s were really intriguing to me, Madeline, because we saw a lot of different formations that you haven't seen from Giants teams over the last few years. So it was really good to see Jones throw the ball well. A variety of routes, Madeline. He had soft touch on some of the longer throws, very, very accurate, and had a lot of zip on some of the shorter throws, even throwing across the field, which I think was a really good sign.
Absolutely. And we've heard Daniel Jones say, you know what, he feels like he will be ready week one. It's good to see him kind of making those connections too with some of his familiar targets out there.
We saw some of the big names really going at it, pushing the pedal to the metal. Saquon Barkley and Kenny Golladay made a couple of really nice plays. And we even saw a new name kind of get into the flow of the offense. Richie James, newly acquired. Remember, he came over via San Francisco, caught a nice long touchdown pass during 7-on-7s. Giants offense was really clicking.
Right, of course. And James wearing number 80, a familiar number for wide receivers. And speaking of vintage Giants, Michael Strahan was in attendance watching practice from the sideline. Got to be kind of a boost for some of these guys.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. Stray was talking to some of the Giants hierarchy, but he did stay to watch the whole practice, and I got a hunch he may have had a few words for the guys too.
Absolutely. And one other thing to note as well, we saw some very interesting drills. Paul, you and I were out there watching, and one of the drills that kind of stood out was the offensive linemen doing these kind of low lunge back and forth. I don't even know how to describe it. It seems like they're putting a lot of effort into that lower body strength and building that up.
And Madeline, you can be sure that that's really good for explosion off the line in the trenches and getting leverage, a very key component when you're playing along the defensive or offensive.
I like it.
Absolutely. And it is just day one of the 3-day voluntary minicamp out here at the New York Giants practice facility. We'll be keeping you up to date with all the latest on Giants.com or the Giants social media channels.
So that was a little bit of surprise at the end of this Giants interactions.
I like it.
Just want to talk about it a little bit. We're almost at the hour mark, so we can talk about it a little bit. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you thought. Tell me about what you heard.
The offense looked like it was on fire, and I'm seeing different drills out of the offensive linemen. Look like they're getting more into the leverage aspect. What'd I tell you? He said this offensive line coach is going to he's going to bring a different blocking scheme, a different technique, and I really think that this is going to help the Giants' own linemen and their struggles and everything, helping them pick up a twist, a stunt, and not be out of position so that when they take on the attacker, their shoulders aren't parallel to the field; they're parallel to the line, so they can get a good push and a punch and drive the power down with that foot and stop them. There's a lot to it, but when you're doing what they're doing, what you just saw on the field, that's a whole different blocking technique than anything we've ever seen from the Giants O linemen in 10 years.
Right.
That's a sight to behold right there. Did you see the guys are buying in? Those guys are working, man. This is voluntary, helmets and shorts, but they're putting in the work.
They are.
I didn't see anybody out there not sweating, not trying.
Daniel Jones, they said he looked good. They said he had a lot of zip on his passes. They said the footwork was looking a lot better. So let's see what the kid
You mean
got.
somebody coached some mistakes out of him like they're supposed to, Pat? Oh, my
Right.
God, I'm going to fall over.
They said he had very good zip. They said he was very accurate. They said the offense looked very good. I know it's minicamp, so you can't base it too much on minicamp, but it is very exciting.
I
It
didn't
just
hear
shows me that they're
anything.
working.
I didn't hear anything, Pat, about how these free agents, anybody struggling. Did you hear them saying about anybody struggling?
I tell you, the thing that people are going to harp on again is that Kadarius Toney wasn't there again. But if he's working with his receivers coach, I can't blame him for not being there. He's
I don't
working
either.
with his receivers coach. So, but I told you guys about Richie James, man. That guy's more than just a returner. If he gets a chance to play receiver, I think he can do. I think he can do a little bit for us. He could definitely make a couple of splash plays for us. If somebody goes down, he can definitely fill in and be that guy. Fill in for us.
Yes.
Yeah, he's very good depth. He's a very good slot receiver. So I'm rooting for the kid to make it to this roster. I don't see why he wouldn't make the roster, but I'm definitely happy to see that these guys are happy working together again.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear about the offensive line drill. They're doing a different drill. They have them working. Nobody was doing that with them the past you said 10 years. That's right.
Yeah.
I've seen the line work like this in the past 10 years. They just go out there and do a couple of things, and then they actually have these guys doing drills like they're at a combine or something. They're reteaching them. It looks like the offensive line is being retaught.
Yes.
And that's what this team needs. They need to be retaught the basics. And it looks like they're going to run a different scheme with the offensive line, too. It looks like we may run power sometimes. We may run zone. So
they said it right there. They're coming out in different formations that they haven't seen the Giants run. So this offense could be completely different maybe than something we're used to seeing. And, now that we're looking at the draft, if they're changing up the blocking on the line and they're changing the playbook to where it's different, our draft, we might be looking at it completely wrong, Pat.
Yep.
We could be looking at this draft completely wrong if they're taking a swing like this. If they're putting plays in that we have never run, if they're looking at a blocking scheme that is specific to this playbook, we could be looking at the draft completely wrong, looking at edge alignment. Your wide receiver at 7 might be the most realistic swag that we've taken. And swag, I mean stupid, wild-ass guess. Pat might be 100% right on wide receiver at 7.
I'm telling you, if they get that right tackle,
Trade, you know what? Trade 5, wide receiver at 7, lineman or linebacker with a trade down pick. Would not surprise me.
Yeah, many different scenarios, man. So
right, that opens
feel
up
they
a
need
lot.
They feel they need that number 1 receiver, and this is definitely one of the drafts to get him. I wouldn't mind them taking Wilson or Olave at 7. I'm telling you.
I just saying, with what that they just reported right there, you've got to think about that. You can't get upset at it.
And if they do stay at 5 and 7, they get the best right tackle. Say if they get Evan Neal at 5 and take Wilson, I don't see how that's a loss.
Right.
Because if we get an offensive line like a block, and then we put Wilson out there with the people that we already have, shit. And they turn around and get a Dolchitz or a Ruckert or a Trey McBride to put out there with him.
Blocking tight end. Oh my God.
You can see this offense do a complete 180.
Right.
And that's what you want, right? 30 points, 30 points,
right,
30
right.
points, 30 points. What if that happens? If we get the top right tackle and then get a number 1 receiver?
Even after everything that happened in Cincinnati, when you killed the Bengals for not taking Sewell and they took Chase, but yet the Bengals went to the Super Bowl. Okay. Not saying that could happen with the Giants, but it's a copycat league.
Right.
Well, if the Bengals can do it, why couldn't we, guys? Why couldn't we? It's not the old scheme. It's not the old coaching staff. All new.
Right.
Get that. People need to let go of Judge and Gettleman. You've got to let them. They're not here anymore.
Got to let it go with Gettleman, especially.
Right.
Gettleman tortured us for 5 years, so you still thinking that Gettleman is making the picks.
Right.
And it's not. It's a different cat. It's a different guy. They have a different system, a different mindset for the team, different vision. But if they did do that, the Giants fan base would go absolutely nuts if they took a receiver at 7.
Oh, I know.
And they would kill him. Fire him now. I can already see it. I can already see it. Fire him now, even though he got the best right tackle available. And then he signed 7 offensive linemen in the offseason.
Right.
To rebuild this offensive line. And you just saw with the little clip that they're reteaching the line. They're reteaching them. They're not just putting people out there. They're reteaching them how to. They're reteaching them. Will they struggle in the beginning of the season? Maybe. When you're learning something new, you don't get it right off the bat. Now, the preseason is definitely going to be important for those guys. But the first couple of games of the regular season, they may struggle. Who knows?
Right.
But once they gel and get it together, you might have to look out. I'm telling you, you put a Wilson and you get a Trey McBride or a Ruckert, and you put them on the field with Tony, Galladay, Shepard, James, Slayton, all those guys. Saquon Barkley looked good.
Barkley and Cook in the backfield.
Yeah, Barkley maybe Cook in the backfield with him.
Right.
I mean, we got 2 third-round picks. We got 2 fifth-round picks.
Right.
What if the third round we could get Cook and Ruckert?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Tight ends in 3rd. 4th,
what if we
maybe
could get
an
James
interior
Cook
lineman.
and Ruckert? Yeah, maybe. What if we could get James Cook or Ruckert? In the first round, we get Neal and Wilson. In the second round, we get the best linebacker available, whether that's Troy Anderson or Christian Harris, because both those guys have risen up draft boards.
Right.
Third round, we get Cook and Rucker. Fourth round, hey, we get Amari Barno if he goes down there. That'll be an edge rusher, or say if an edge rusher that nobody's talking about and they get him, he turns out to be cool.
They're looking at corners right into there too. I've seen them talking to a few people in secondary. So don't be surprised if that fourth round pick is a safety or a corner.
Maybe so. But you can't get everything in 1 year.
Right. You're right. You can't.
But say if Daniel Jones is not the guy, which probably will be true. Not gonna lie to you, probably be true. But what a great situation for another quarterback to come into. If you got Rucker, James Cook, Wilson with $100 million in cap space, we might be able to get a Deebo Samuel or AJ Brown next year, or Terry McLaurin, because all three of those guys are on contracts and they're not getting them. And guess what? They don't have a fifth-year option. You might be able to get a guy like that to go out there if Galladay is not the guy. But what if Galladay turns out to be very good and Daniel Jones plays very good? Holy shit.
Right.
What if the offense is putting up 24, 25 points again? We do go 11-6 because the defense is playing good enough. Yeah, just good enough to get us the victory. And we go out there. Maybe we don't win a playoff game. Maybe we do. What if we do? You got your team set.
Just add pieces the following year.
Yeah, just add pieces. Then you got your team is set. And say if you do bring everybody out back, you still got like $68 to $70 million in cap space. So wherever you're weak at, you use free agency to do that and the draft. And now you're drafting for depth. That's the difference between good teams and bad teams.
Yes.
Good teams draft for depth. They're not drafting for starters. They're drafting for depth. So when this guy leaves, we got him ready to come in.
That's right. The more guys that take off this year, the better we look.
So when you're doing drafts now, it's not, oh, we need to draft this position because we have nobody there. No, we're just drafting this position because this guy might play so well that we're not willing to give him that huge bag. And so in 2 years, we have somebody ready that when he's replaced, and we get a compensatory pick for him because he signed the most lucrative deal at his position. So we get a third round comp pick too. That's how good teams are built, man. Good teams draft for depth. The first round, yeah, you're going to draft to get a person that you may need to fill a position, but we're talking about drafting people in the third and fourth round to start. That's what bad teams do. When you're drafting in the second, third, fourth, fifth round, you're not drafting guys to start. You're drafting for depth.
What could
and that's
be.
why, yeah. 9 times out of 10, your third through 6, you drafted for depth. That's why I want Daniel Jones to succeed, because if he does, that's over half the battle.
Yep.
We're set. If we go out there and he leads this offense to 25 points a game, we're set. Now all we need to do is get depth pieces and get Wink his people. I don't see why you guys can't see that. You just don't like the dude so bad that you can't see that. If that dude succeeds, we win.
I get it. Yeah, because we hit on the draft pick. We hit on a first-round draft pick quarterback that everybody else is searching for right now.
Right. He's already in the building.
Right.
And if he turns out to be that guy, that's half the bet. Now we don't have to give up draft capital to go get another quarterback or waste over half our cap room to get a quarterback. Can you imagine being a team that the offense is playing pretty well and the defense is playing pretty well to where we get into the playoffs?
Right.
And then we go into the next year with over $80 million in cap room. Now, when you start getting, now you get a couple of pieces. You want that top edge rusher or you want that top lineman? Maybe the linemen just weren't good enough in the playoffs to beat the upper echelon team. And we need that center or we need that right guard or left guard.
Right.
We can get them in free agency now.
Mm-hmm.
And just add them there. Or if we need that top receiver, guess what? Kenny Galladay's not the dude. We get 21 million back off him. We turn that 21 million and give it to somebody like a McLaurin.
And then, let's say you do have like a first rounder who's your starter, but then all of a sudden you got this fifth rounder you get a couple years later, or you got him a couple years earlier and he's balling out. Hey, I'll trade you him for a second. What? Yeah, I'll give you a second rounder for him. You still got your number one guy. You got an extra pick, more depth, more development. Or if you can't afford your star, you let him walk. You get a third round comp pick for him, and you've got his backup right here, ready to come on a cheap deal.
Right.
That's how winning teams work. The ability to replace due to injury or contract or whatever the situation. You got to have that role.
We got to get out the ordeal of we got to draft starters in round 4 and 5.
Right.
That's the bad part about it. That's how bad the team is. We're talking about 4th and 5th rounders coming in, being drafted and being starters. That's not what good teams are about. That's not what happens with good teams. And that's the issue. Good teams use those later round picks as depth, or if you see somebody that could turn into a potential star,
right?
You'd be like, okay, we could take this guy here and develop him. We don't need him right now.
Yes, when you can take best player available from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, that's when you're succeeding.
Yep.
Not position, best player, most talent, most upside. Let's take a swing on him. You can swing and miss when when you're like that. Right now, the Giants are not a swing and miss team. It's got to hit.
And I don't think a lot of these people, fans, notice that. And that's why I brought it up. Right. Dude, we're doing mock drafts and we're trying to get starters with the last pick of the draft.
Right. It's hard to do.
Oh man, you should have took this because he could start. Well, man, that's terrible, man. That's how bad we are. And that's what people are not getting. When you're going through a full draft and you're trying to get a starter at every position in the draft, you're a bad team.
Right.
And I know people are going to turn around. You should be trying to get a starter at every position. You're stupid. What are you talking about?
You can't do it.
No. Good teams draft for depth during those positions. Are you trying to get a star? Yes, you are. But if you're a very good team and your cornerbacks are good, your safeties are good, your defensive line is good, your offensive line is good, your quarterback set, your running back set, you got pretty good receivers. You can go in the 3rd round and take another receiver there.
Right.
Because you really don't have any needs.
Right.
You can take another receiver right there. And if he turns out to be an absolute baller, hell yeah, we good.
Right.
So now if this guy turns out that he wants $48 million and we're only willing to go 40,
trade him.
We can trade him because this guy right behind him is balling too.
Right. That's how you get first round picks too, right there.
Yeah. Or if you have a guard that you took in the 4th round, he shows that shit, he could be a starter on this team. And your right guard is like, hey, look, I've been playing well for you the past 4 years. It's time for me to get paid. I'm on $33 million a year.
And
okay,
don't get it twisted, because what we're talking about is probably what Shane wants to do.
Yeah.
If you really think about what we're talking about right now, that's a GM's dream right there. That's a GM's dream scenario and a coach's. I got too many good players. I can't play them all.
Yep. That's the position you want to be in.
Right.
Okay, we're going to lose him, but we already got this guy right behind him, so we're cool. And we're going to get a comp pick for him because he's going to sign one of the top
money
for his position.
That's how winning teams work.
So now I'm gonna have around 2 third-round picks every other year. And if there's somebody in the second round, we can trade up to get that person. Because I got 2 third-round picks every freaking year. That's the way you really want it. Is that feasible? No, not all the time. No. But it is feasible to have good depth on your team. So if somebody leaves to get that bag, which they damn sure should do because they earned it. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that here because it's going to put us in a bind. We love you. Go get your money. Go be successful. But we've been training. You've actually been helping out training the guy behind you. And when good teams do that, if you're winning games, that guy, he's not going to sit in that office and call you an asshole. If he's a real cat, he knows this is about business. He knows that you can only afford to give him 28, but he's worth 35. I'm going to go get my 35. Man, thank you, Joe Shane, man. We had some great years, but I got my family I got to think about. I'm going to get my 35 here. Man, best of luck. Joe Shane, man, best of luck, bro. We love you. Go do your thing, man. Hopefully the guy behind you've been training can fill your shoes. And you know he gonna say a little joke out the door. Good luck with that. I'm worth $35 million. You sure you can replace that? Ha ha ha. Leave. Leave on good terms. You're muted, Joe.
Yeah, my wife's making dinner. I'm supposed to be over there helping her.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna end that here. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. This has been Giants Interactions. We've been all over the place. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that day one mini camp.
Yes. Great talking, great discussion.
Yeah, great discussion. But I think the inside linebacker is a little bit more important to us than edge rusher. Take it how you want. Call me what you want. Just make sure you put it in the chat. And we definitely gonna love doing premiering this video to you guys.
Make sure you come and hit us up too on our next live after this video drops. We'll definitely break it down in our live stream.
Right. So, Joe, if you have anything.
No, boss. That man, what a great way. Great chopping it up here with you. Another great subject. I loved the direction. I loved everything that was brought up. Man, again, like, subscribe, ring that bell, get notified when we all go live. Me, Classified 3AF, Big Pat Sports Talk, and our third amigo, G Nation. Yeah, he does the boxing. Pat does the USFL and the Giants. I do a little bit of everything else, but we all mix it up. We chop it up, and we have a great time and a great crew in the chat. Please come along and join us.
All right. And hit that join button if you want to talk your talk with Big Pat Sports Talk and stand above the rest. We are at 10 members. Thank you to all the 10 members of the channel. But until the next episode of Giants Interactions, peace. This has been a Big Blue Crew production.